Welcome to the John Harrison Podcast. Statistics show us that about 70% of people are disengaged in the workplace. Obviously, that affects bottom lines of companies, individual, their own engagement at work, but also affects families and communities. We don't want to just be frustrated about things that are going on in the workplace or in the world. We want to do something about it. So we're going to talk about this while others aren't, and we hope you will join us on this journey.
Welcome back to the John Harrison Podcast. This is Madeline, and I've got John and Jason and Melissa here with us today. We are going to be talking about how to develop new skills at work, but specifically whenever training isn't provided. And so this can be pretty difficult, but it doesn't have to be. So we've got some insights on this today. So John, I'm going to go ahead and kick it to you first.
Good. Thanks, Madeline. And so let's just set this one up this way. So as an employee, you want to learn new skills. Let's just play this out that your company says, due to budgetary concerns, there will be no formal training provided the fourth quarter of 2025 or whatever. So, or you're at a small company that doesn't even offer formal training programs, so to speak. So you can easily just think as the employee, well, guess there's nothing I can do. They're not investing in me, so to speak. So what we're looking for here, just again, this will probably be a short one, but just for you to be thinking, whatever level you are in the company, is how can you develop yourself if there's not formal training available? So one example to kick us off, if it's a technical skill you want to learn, there's obviously somebody in your organization that probably has that skill. So just saying, hey, is there any chance you can show me how to do Excel or use that tool or how to change a tire or something like that? Now, the person may say no, but to me, that's on you to at least go ask to show that initiative. But there's probably 1,000 ways today you can learn some of these skills without going to a formal class. So, Jason, we were just talking about this before we started. What are some other ways?
I think, with the rise of the internet and different apps, right? I mean, now you have ChatGPT, you have YouTube videos. My girls watch YouTube to learn how to cook, how to do, I mean, so many different things, how to even draw, art, different things. So, there's so many skills and things you can learn just from asking Chat or just looking up YouTube videos. And I'm sure there's a ton of other apps that even people younger than me would know about that I might not know about. But that's where I would go very first to learn something, because that's going to be free, right? And so you can at least learn from one of those sources.
And hopefully you're in a job where you're eager to learn more about your industry and the tools that you're working with and the things that you're doing. So, YouTube is a great place. I've definitely gone there before.
And with that, Madeline, I think there's some balance in this too, because I've heard, some companies say, well, if you want to learn something, come in on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's possible for some companies, but some people might go, I really can't come in on a Saturday. I'm a single parent or taking care of my aging parents or whatever. But on the other side of that, don't discard that as a possibility, right? There are some companies where staying an extra hour after your shift is over or coming in on a Saturday, learning something that way too. So again, that shouldn't be pressured and required, so to speak. But I think it's totally in the company's right to say, well, Jason, if you'd like to learn that, I want you to stick around the day after 4 o'clock and I'll show you. And if you go 4, I'm off at 4. Okay, well, those are things you have to take into consideration too. So some of it could be done electronically, like we just talked about. It could be casual, but sometimes there are situations where being there on a Saturday morning or after hours, you could learn something that way. So I would just say for star employees, don't fully disregard that. Yeah. And companies don't say that's the only way that I'll teach somebody is if you come in Saturday morning, because that might not be available.
Oh, cross-training too. I mean, you can kind of take some of that into your own hands, right? And if you're working alongside someone that's doing something that's interesting to you, then you can just say, hey, can you show me how you're doing that? Or yes, I'd be interested in learning more about that. How did you get started? And just be inquisitive about it. But then also we talk a lot about career planning discussions and kind of taking that into your own hands sometimes. So with your leader and just having those conversations, and you may have to have it more than once so that they know the seriousness of your interest to that. But then there's companies too that have skills assessments available where you can do an internal skills assessment and find out how your current skills stack up to it. And there's free ones online. We've talked about the other tools. There's free skills assessments online to help you kind of find out where your strengths are and do those align with your interest and where do you need to hone in versus where you're really good at something.
Yeah, and I think just being open to this stuff, including cross-training, and we talk about this in our sessions a little bit, but if I say, hey, Madeline, Melissa, I need you to kind of learn this new thing, so we're going to have you cross-train the next couple of days, I would never, as an employee, say, I'm not doing that, or do I get paid more? I would always be, and you can ask questions, like, did you say a couple days or like a couple weeks, or why do you want us to cross-train? All those things, but I would be open to those kinds of things. And by the way, when you cross-train, not only do you get a different perspective of the person that's had that job, but you might go, oh, I kind of like this. I didn't think I would like this. So I think the point is there's probably 1,000 ways you can develop your skills without having to go to a formal training class. And we're not saying companies shouldn't offer those, because they should. And obviously we have companies that use us to train leaders and all that. But as I looked back at my 25 years at Caterpillar, the amount of time I was in a formal class was very, very small.
Right.
It was almost always from being through different experiences, being around different kinds of people. Also, volunteering for stuff. And again, I think the problem is let's say there's a team, we're going to have a new team to try this new software we're implementing at the company. And you go, hey, I'm going to sign up for that. And if your, quote, buddies go, really? You're sucking up to you've got to be real careful who you're kind of hitching your wagons to, so to speak, at work. If you're trying to better your skills to learn something and you've got people around you trying to stop you from that, I'd be real careful about calling those folks your friends, because I don't think they have your best interest at stake. So volunteering to be on a team to try something, that's another way to do it, but be careful about your peers.
I agree. I think that those are the people that we talk about that suck water out of your bottle. And I love earlier, Melissa, you were kind of talking about just standing up for yourself and kind of, I think every company wants you to have the tools and the skills to succeed. So even if it's something that you think that you could do your job better with. There's been many times where y'all have offered that for me. Like, hey, if you find a course on how to do this, like, let us know, and we'd be happy to pay for that for you to go through that or whatever. And so if it hasn't been explicitly said, like, we don't do training, I think it is beneficial to stand up and just say, hey, I found this thing that's going to help me. And now there, yes, are a lot of free resources, but if there's something that could help, like a certification, or I think it's worth it to bring it up to your leader. And that just shows initiative. They may say no, or they may ask you to find some sort of free thing, but it's worth a try. And that really feeds in, honestly, to the episode that we just recorded about being an employee that a leader wants to promote. So if you haven't listened to that one, you'll probably want to, and we can link it down in the description below.
Yeah, I think so much of what we talk about is obviously two-way street. So the organization should be providing opportunities as much as they can. They should support people that want to learn and do better. But you also have to take your own initiative. And kind of what Madeline just said, being one of those employees that everyone wants on their team. And part of that is I want to see employees that want to grow and want to learn new things. And they don't say no immediately to given an opportunity to learn something. So just be careful you don't get in the rut of waiting for someone else to make this happen for you.
Yeah, a lot of times the tools that you need to grow don't even cost a lot of money, and it's just the fact that somebody else hasn't taken the time to research it, find out what the value is, how much it costs, how long does it take. And if you can do that research and present it in such a way that the leader goes, oh yeah, that's easy, let's do it, right?
Yeah, and with that, the other side of this, and I've mentioned this story in our sessions, but I was in a training class and there was a group of police officers, and one of the people in the class said, we just had a young person just went through our police academy and didn't know how to change a tire. I mean, I cannot believe a young man, didn't know how to change a tire. and cops have to know how to change tires because that's part of their duty. And so he was getting really frustrated about it, and I just was nice about it in the class. But I said, now what could you have done to help with that? And he was like, some other employees said, like, train this kid how to change a tire. And this guy was like, well, I could, but like just getting frustrated instead of going, you know what, we there's opportunities all day long for this. For young people, not even, I mean, it's the opposite, right? Like older people will get frustrated about phones and technology. And they go, this is so stupid. Well, okay, you'd like somebody to come alongside you maybe and show you how to use some of that technology. You know, Jen's parents are in their 80s and they can FaceTime. They didn't know how to FaceTime at first, but she helped them. And then on the flip side, we get frustrated with young people that don't know how to change a tire or how to just some things that we might have learned when we were 12. We'll just help them. So again, that doesn't have to be formal. I mean, if you see somebody struggling that doesn't know how to use a tool or a this or that, say, hey, if you got a little time after work today, let me pop up the hood on my car and let me show you where you put in your windshield wiper fluid, or just something that simple to help people. I mean, I think if we all did that, we'd be a much more, quote, trained workforce without having to rely on formal stuff.
I think so too, John. And I just, as you told that story about that young man who didn't know about changing a tire, it's like, yeah, you can get frustrated at that, but that's where it ties into, knowing your employees. And maybe he grew up without a dad that never taught him how to do those things, and just with a mom who didn't know how to do it. And so it's just, again, all these things tie into it. All these things apply at home. And we hope that our listeners, that y'all understand that, and that you see the value in both work and home there. But thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you to the team here at the table talking about this topic today, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us today on the John Harrison Podcast. As you know, we believe that a positive work culture creates a ripple effect that extends into families and communities. If you found anything of value in today's episode, please share it with somebody so they can hear it as well. And if you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please fill out the form below.